In 2025, over 3,200 millionaires are expected to leave the UK, more than from any other country in the world. That's not a prediction, it's a verified statistic. Think about that for a second. What's happening inside Britain that's pushing its wealthiest citizens to pack up and disappear? Is it just about high taxes? Or is there something much deeper brewing beneath the surface? Something the mainstream media isn't telling you. Because here's the twist. This isn't a one-off. It's part of a much bigger, quieter exodus that's been building for years. And 2025 is the tipping point. Experts, economists, and even former insiders are now speaking up, and what they're revealing is downright shocking. From aggressive new tax reforms to political uncertainty and lifestyle collapses, there are at least 10 powerful reasons why the ultra-wealthy are choosing to abandon the UK for good. And some of these reasons, you won't believe how deep they go. So if you want to know what's truly driving this millionaire migration, and whether it's just the beginning of something bigger, keep watching. What you'll learn might completely change how you see the future of the UK. Number 1. Crushing tax policies. When millionaires start fleeing a country, taxes are almost always part of the equation, and in the UK's case, they're front and center. In 2025, the British government introduced sweeping changes to its tax system, including new rules targeting high-income earners and wealthy estates. For many millionaires, these changes felt like a direct hit. We're talking about an increase in the top marginal tax rate, stricter rules around non-dom status, and a controversial inheritance tax overhaul. In some cases, families now face losing nearly half of their wealth when passing it on. Imagine working your entire life to build a fortune, only to see a massive chunk of it vanish overnight because of a policy change. It's not just the amount, it's the unpredictability. The rules keep changing. Tax planning that once made sense is now useless. The message is loud and clear. If you're rich, we're coming for your wallet. To add insult to injury, the UK has started ramping up investigations and surprise tax audits. Lawyers and accountants say they've never been busier helping clients prepare an exit. That's not paranoia, that's a movement. Meanwhile, countries like the UAE, Monaco, Singapore, and even Portugal are rolling out the red carpet. Zero income tax, business-friendly environments, and long-term stability. For someone with millions or billions at stake, the math is simple. Move your assets, secure your lifestyle, and breathe easier. So it's not just about avoiding taxes, it's about protecting a legacy in a world that's becoming increasingly hostile to success. And for many UK millionaires, 2025 was the year that made the decision crystal clear. Number 2. Political instability. When wealth is on the line, one of the biggest risks millionaires look to avoid is political chaos. And lately, the UK has had plenty of it. Flip-flopping leadership, endless scandals, and an economy swaying with every political headline have created a perfect storm of uncertainty. The constant tug-of-war between Labour and Conservative agendas means no one can confidently predict what the tax landscape, business climate, or regulatory framework will look like even a year from now. That's terrifying for anyone trying to plan for the long term. One day it's tax breaks, the next it's windfall taxes. Promises change with polls. Policies shift with public outrage. And it's not just about laws, it's about sentiment. More and more, there's a growing public hostility toward the rich, fueled by populist messaging and economic frustration. For millionaires, that translates into real consequences: public shaming, policy targeting, and zero political allies. Compare that to nations offering political neutrality and investor stability, places where you know what you're signing up for. For many wealthy Brits, the choice is simple. Go where the rules are clear, the tone is predictable, and the leaders don't change direction with the wind. And let's not forget, political instability often hits hardest during times of crisis. If you had the resources to move before the next storm hits, wouldn't you? It's about securing the future, not just reacting to the present. If you agree or disagree with this trend, tell us in the comments. What do you think is driving the millionaire exit? And if you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Number 3. Brexit fallout. Still hurts. Brexit was supposed to be a clean break, a fresh start, a moment of national pride. But for many of the UK's wealthiest, it's become a lingering headache that just won't go away. 5 years on, the consequences are still unfolding, especially for those with international investments, cross-border businesses, or global mobility plans. The seamless financial access they once had to the EU? Gone. The frictionless movement of capital and people? Complicated. The regulatory harmony? Shattered. Millionaires who used to operate freely between London and European cities are now tied up in bureaucratic red tape. Residency permits, tax declarations, dual regulations. It's turned international business from a sleek operation into a logistical mess. Something that used to take days can now take weeks. And let's talk about market perception. London was once the financial crown jewel of Europe. Now, uncertainty has tarnished its shine. Banks are moving operations. Asset managers are shifting headquarters. Even private family offices are starting to ask, is it worth staying here? The EU isn't waiting around either. Cities like Frankfurt, Paris, and Amsterdam are aggressively luring top talent and investment. They're modern, open, and more integrated than ever. Their pitch is simple. We offer what the UK used to. For the ultra-wealthy, who value speed, access, and predictability, the Brexit aftershocks are more than just inconvenient. They're costly. Add it all up, and you have a powerful reason why the UK no longer feels like home base for the rich. What was promised as taking back control has, in many ways, spun into a tangle of restrictions. And the people who can afford to leave? Many already have, or will soon. Number 4. Global mobility and golden visas. For the world's wealthiest, borders are a suggestion, not a limitation. They're not just looking at where they live, but where their money works best, where their passports open the most doors, and where their children have the highest chances of thriving. And in 2025, the world is wide open, just not in the UK. While Britain tightens rules and ramps up regulation, countries across the globe are doing the exact opposite. They're creating fast-track systems for the elite. Think golden visas, investor passports, and citizenship by investment programs that open up entire regions, tax-free. Dubai offers zero income tax and luxury living with global prestige. Portugal offers EU access with flexible residency. Singapore delivers political stability, elite education, and a booming economy. Even Caribbean nations are getting in on the action, providing second citizenships in under 90 days, no residency required. These programs aren't fringe anymore. They're becoming the norm among the ultra-wealthy, who now hold portfolios of passports the way others collect credit cards. Some even optimize travel by choosing citizenships based on visa-free access to specific regions. It's no longer about where you were born, it's about where you're best treated. It's strategic, it's fast, it's legal, and it's growing. The UK, on the other hand, scrapped its own investor visa program and tightened immigration controls, sending a clear message that rich newcomers aren't welcome and wealthy locals might want to rethink their roots. In today's global chessboard, millionaires aren't stuck playing checkers. They're planning 5 moves ahead, optimizing for freedom, flexibility, and future-proofing. And when the UK no longer fits into that plan, they simply replace it with a better square. Number 5. Safety and social climate. We often think of wealth as the ultimate shield, private security, gated homes, luxury escapes, but even the richest can't ignore the creeping discomfort that comes when a city no longer feels safe. In 2025, rising crime in major UK cities has become impossible to ignore. Knife crime, muggings, and break-ins are no longer confined to certain neighborhoods. They're spilling into high-end districts, sometimes targeting the affluent directly. The line between public frustration and targeted resentment is getting thinner and more dangerous. But it's not just about physical safety. There's also a social climate shift that many millionaires are feeling. Conversations around wealth have turned increasingly hostile. The sentiment in media, online discourse, and even public policy leans toward vilifying success. It's no longer just about fair taxation, it's about moral judgment. You feel it in the looks, the headlines, the tone of political speeches. For the ultra-wealthy, this creates an environment of tension and caution. They feel watched, criticized, and isolated in the country they once called home. For many, the UK's tone has shifted from aspirational to adversarial. Meanwhile, destinations like Switzerland, New Zealand, and select Gulf states offer not only lower crime rates, but also a cultural tone of discretion, privacy, and respect for individual success. It's not just about what you earn, it's about how society makes you feel for having earned it. When safety is uncertain and society feels hostile, money becomes a ticket out. Not just for security, but for peace of mind, mental comfort, and social ease. And in 2025, that peace is increasingly being found somewhere far from British soil. Number 6. Declining public services. Public services are the backbone of any nation. But when those services begin to break down, even the wealthiest start to feel the cracks. The UK's public systems, once envied around the world, are under serious strain in 2025. The NHS, once a symbol of national pride, is now stretched beyond capacity. Delays for critical treatments are at record highs. Even private healthcare providers, once considered the escape route, are feeling the pressure as demand explodes. And it's not just health. Public infrastructure is showing visible signs of wear. Trains are delayed or cancelled. Roads are deteriorating. Local councils are overwhelmed with budget cuts, leading to missed bin collections, reduced maintenance, and a general decline in civic life. For millionaires accustomed to precision and reliability, these everyday inefficiencies start to become deal-breakers. Education is no exception. While elite private schools still exist, they're increasingly affected by national policies, funding cuts, and shifting cultural narratives that undervalue academic excellence and tradition. Even global clients have begun reconsidering the UK as a destination for elite schooling, turning instead to Switzerland or the US. The result? A country that feels like it's in slow decline, where your wealth can't guarantee access to quality services anymore. Now compare that to nations investing aggressively in public infrastructure, healthcare innovation, and education reform. In places like the UAE or Singapore, money stretches further, systems work faster, and excellence is the standard, not the exception. When you're rich, you're not just buying luxury, you're buying time, health, and efficiency. And when a country stops delivering on those fronts, no mansion or trust fund can make up the difference. That's when millionaires start looking for countries that don't just talk about world-class systems, but actually deliver them. Number 7. Real estate and inflation pressures. Once seen as a safe haven, UK real estate is now becoming a financial headache, even for the ultra-wealthy. It's not just that prices are high. Prices have always been high in London. But in 2025, the problem is that they're high without the returns. The UK housing market is stagnating in key areas, with rising costs but flat growth. Owning prime property no longer feels like a power move. It feels like a liability. Add to that inflation. The cost of living has ballooned in recent years, impacting everything from property maintenance to staff salaries and service fees. It's not just the middle class feeling the pinch anymore. Even millionaires are reassessing where their money is going and what it's doing for them. Interest rates haven't helped either. As borrowing becomes more expensive, luxury real estate investments lose their shine. Financing new developments or expanding property portfolios is no longer the automatic wealth multiplier it used to be. And let's not forget the tax implications. Wealth taxes, second home surcharges, and non-resident penalties have turned the UK's real estate market into a maze of regulation and risk. Layers of red tape have made property ownership feel more like a burden than a privilege. Compare that to other countries offering booming real estate markets, low property taxes, and higher yields. Think of places like Dubai, where prime properties come with lifestyle perks and financial freedom, not bureaucratic burdens. For the wealthy, real estate is more than shelter. It's strategy. And right now, the UK's real estate game is looking increasingly unplayable. When the rules stop working in your favor, you don't wait. You relocate. Number 8. Remote work and global flexibility. There was a time when being rich meant living in the heart of London, close to the action. Mayfair, Chelsea, Kensington. But 2025 tells a different story. The action has gone global, and thanks to technology, so have the rich. The pandemic changed everything. It taught the world that offices aren't necessary, commutes are optional, and work can happen from anywhere with Wi-Fi. For millionaires and business owners, that realization unlocked something bigger. Geographic freedom. Why stay in a cold, overtaxed city when you can run your empire from a beachfront villa in Bali or a penthouse in Dubai? Why subject your family to gray skies and high costs when you can relocate to places with sunshine, luxury, and zero income tax? The tools are all there. Encrypted communications, virtual offices, private jets, digital infrastructure. Being physically tied to the UK is no longer a requirement to make UK money. Operations can run worldwide. Wealth is now as mobile as the people who hold it. This freedom has created a new mindset among the wealthy. Flexibility is the new status symbol. It's not about where you can afford to live. It's about where you choose to live when nothing is holding you back. And with many countries actively encouraging remote entrepreneurs and wealthy nomads through digital nomad visas and friendly tax regimes, the UK starts to look less like home and more like an anchor. For today's mobile millionaire, global flexibility isn't just a perk, it's a plan. And if the UK can't compete on lifestyle, tax, or ease of living, it simply doesn't make the cut anymore. Because when freedom is an option, so is relocation. Number 9. Education and family concerns. When millionaires make relocation decisions, it's rarely just about themselves. It's about their families. And in 2025, many UK-based wealthy individuals are realizing that the future they want for their children might not be found at home. Education has long been a cornerstone of elite life in Britain, but times are changing. While prestigious schools like Eton and Harrow still exist, they're not immune to cultural and institutional shifts. Increasingly, the curriculum is influenced by political agendas. Academic rigor is being questioned. Discipline and tradition are being replaced with performative reforms and ideological messaging. Parents who once felt proud to have their children educated in the UK are starting to worry. Is this system preparing them for global leadership or just placating public sentiment? Will their children be challenged or simply processed? Safety is another concern. School environments, even in elite areas, are seeing rising behavioral issues, strained teacher resources, and mental health crises among students. Families with means are asking, why stay when we can access more forward-thinking systems elsewhere? Switzerland offers privacy, structure, and multilingual education. The US has world-class universities and innovative prep programs. Singapore delivers discipline, academic excellence, and technological innovation. The options are endless, and for high-net-worth families, entirely within reach. Relocation isn't just about wealth, it's about legacy. And for many, that legacy is their children's potential. If the UK's education system feels uncertain, limiting, or politically compromised, moving abroad becomes not just attractive, but essential. Because when it comes to your child's future, compromise isn't part of the equation. Only excellence is. Number 10. Lifestyle uplift abroad. It's not just about escaping something bad, it's about upgrading to something better. For many of the UK's wealthiest, the decision to leave isn't driven solely by problems at home, but by the allure of a lifestyle they can't ignore anymore. Think about it. Sunshine year-round, world-class service, seamless travel, a sense of calm, privacy, and personal freedom. In 2025, places like Dubai, Singapore, and Monaco aren't just destinations, they're experiences designed for the ultra-wealthy. Imagine waking up to a panoramic ocean view instead of gray skies and drizzle, dining in five-star restaurants that know your name, sending your kids to schools that prioritize innovation and global citizenship, living in a society that respects wealth rather than resents it. In many of these countries, luxury isn't an occasional indulgence. It's embedded into daily life. From healthcare to hospitality, everything feels frictionless, efficient, and tailored. You don't wait in queues. You don't argue with bureaucracy. You move through life with ease. And it's not just amenities, it's attitude. You're greeted with optimism, not suspicion. Success is admired, not questioned. There's a cultural mindset that encourages ambition, achievement, and lifestyle harmony. Meanwhile, the UK feels weighed down by politics, by austerity, by tension. The contrasts are growing sharper. And when millionaires visit these polished cities abroad, they're not just taking vacations, they're catching glimpses of a different reality. The appeal is powerful, not just financial optimization, but emotional satisfaction. Millionaires aren't just moving for tax benefits, they're seeking joy, beauty, and peace of mind. Because when money can buy almost anything, time and happiness become the ultimate currencies. And in 2025, more and more of the UK's richest are trading up for both. Leaving the UK isn't always an escape. Sometimes it's just a step up. So now you know this isn't just a trend, it's a signal. But what do you think? Are the rich abandoning the UK or just evolving with the times? Drop your thoughts below. We actually read every comment. And hey, if you found this valuable, check out our last video. It dives even deeper into how billionaires protect their wealth. We pour real research and effort into every upload, so hit that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means everything to us.